Welcome, everybody, to the Dad Bodds Podcast, episode number 74, I believe. And we are going to be talking a lot of college hoops. I'm Guns Picks, and to my right, we have lockbets.net. And to the bottom of me, we have Punisher Picks if you're watching live on YouTube right now. What's going on, fellas? How you doing today?
Well, I tell you what, today's a great day to be alive. I'm happy that I got through it. It was a shit show. I mean, I woke up late. I guess I had to work on a Thursday. I forgot that was a thing. I literally thought it was Saturday morning. Was drinking until freaking 1:30 a.m.
I woke up to some really great TikToks to watch in the morning.
Did I put that on TikTok?
Yes, you did. The TikToks
the sexy back one.
You had the sexy back one, and you basically did our sponsor Viva, and showed some of the tequilas.
Viva
and,
right here, boys.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Sponsored by Viva Tequila.
Well, maybe I went viral. I haven't opened up my TikTok all day. I've been scared.
Yeah,
I've been looking at my text messages. I'm like, what was I doing at this hour? We're drinking water. And we're boozing. We're gonna open a few of these.
Hair of the dog. That's all you can do.
Welcome to the show. I won a lot of money last night, and then I lost a lot of money last night. So I hope somebody cashed some tickets. So
we are collectively going to talk some college hoops tonight. We have Joe picks coming up, but Lock Bets was on the floor last night at Seton Hall.
Yeah,
what a raucous crowd! You were like right behind the play-by-play guy, right?
was. I mean, I was pretty starstruck just because I've never been that close. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's even a lot cooler if you were.
Isn't it a different game? Like it's a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean,
like, the guys are so you're like
back, free beers. I mean, like
wow,
like nothing. You know, a bunch of.
I mean, watching the like actually watching.
Oh
the gameplay, like because I was on the floor for that OSU Baylor game. And like you're like, it doesn't look like there's enough space on the court for all those guys, right? And when you're watching it on TV, you can see there's lanes to drive in.
I feel like it looks a little slow motion too, just because you're so close. And
and it's so cool to hear the talking and the refs and the.
Oh yeah, I mean,
tell us about the game. Well, who won? I didn't get to watch.
Seton Hall just won like at the last minute. They let Georgetown stay in it way too long.
Yeah.
Typical Seton Hall. I mean, just like not knowing how to beat, like beat down on a team, like a good team, like a bad team, beat the bad teams and beat down on them.
Mm-hmm. Always a team I like in March, but
that's the only way I'm gonna go to basketball games from now on.
So how did you get the tickets? What was the hookup?
I have a friend who his boss has like 8 tickets down there, some big wig in New York City, and he gets free tickets, and nobody in the company really goes because it's in New Jersey. But my one friend lives in Jersey, so he's like, all right. Now he's like a Seton Hall fan because he goes like he's been to 5 games already. But I got the nod yesterday. So
look at you. But
I paid for it today. I mean, it was free tickets, but I paid for it today. So,
but it was worth it though. I mean, if you're gonna go and like tie one on. That's how you do it. It's like you go courtside to a team that's going to be probably in the tournament, I'm assuming, and you get to see them win, and you get to see the student section getting rowdy and stuff like that. That's a crazy experience. I've been the only college basketball game that I've ever been to was in Las Vegas when they had the Mountain West tournament, which was absolutely electric. I got to saw Jimmer Fredette, and I saw those guys.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that was a good.
Andrew Bogut was playing for Utah. That was during that time. It was a fun time. But
we're gonna have a guest today too. I think.
Well, yeah, we do. We're gonna have Joe Picks on in a second.
Cool.
We have. I mean, we talked the Seton Hall stuff. I mean, we're in the precipice of.
You're on a need to know basis, intern.
Just tell me where to be, what time.
Point me in the right direction.
Courtside, bar, wherever you want to point me, I'll go.
As long as there's beer, he's there.
Just take me away.
So we have. I mean, this is the last weekend of the regular season, I believe, before we get into conference tournaments. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a grind. I have a few picks. I have one for tonight. If we want to get into that right now,
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys brought your picks to the table. Did you do your homework? I know Locks probably didn't, but he has an excuse. His mom wrote him a note.
You should probably wait to release that. I would suggest, but that's just me.
Well, this one tips off tonight, and I also want.
Then you gotta tell him.
And I also have a good streak on the Gunstradamus picks. I'm 2-0 on those. I look 2 days ahead, pick a play, and I got one tonight.
Is this any line fits all?
Any line fits all. This is the only way these plays work. So if we want to get into it right now, let's go into the Dad Bodds Capper breakdown.
Do it.
It is time for the Dad Bodds Capper breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Never gets old. So for the Dad Bodds Capper breakdown, I have one pick for tonight that kicks off at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have the San Diego State Aztecs going up against the Fresno State Bulldogs. I'm going to be taking San Diego State -8 on this play. Now, San Diego State has won 7 out of their last 8. They're absolutely cooking with gas. They're actually the best defensive efficient team in college basketball per KenPom. You have Fresno coming off a hard-fought win over a lackluster New Mexico team on Monday. They've lost 4 out of the last 6. They haven't really beat anybody in the last 8 or 9 games. I don't really like this team at all. Also, Fresno State beat them 61-44 in the last matchup, where San Diego State was a 3-point favorite. They're an 8-point favorite now, so it kind of transitions into that home line that I like, and it's senior night for the Aztecs here. This is their last home game. They have one more game after this, but I like San Diego State in this spot. Late night special degenerate. Give me San Diego State -8 as the play.
Woza.
Wow. That was pretty cool. Good job. Hey, I think it's going to win.
San Diego State is always good defensively, right? That's
Very
kind of, that's kind of their calling card.
Yeah, I thought they'd be better offensively. They usually can actually match up a little bit on the offensive side, but when you look at their offensive stats, they're kind of under the not really that good. They play a lot of low scoring games, so I from a total standpoint, they probably hit a few wonders. I haven't looked into that. I'm not a totals guy, so
I saw the other day they had they had a live over under of it was San Diego State versus somebody that I can't think of right now because I'm a little hungover, as I said.
Yeah.
But it was 118 or something. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And it went way under. It was I was like, okay.
Very low scoring games.
Good to know.
I got one more pick, but I wanted to pass it over to you, Pun, if you got one.
Yeah, I can give a hockey play. I'm trying to look and see which one starts later. I gave these out this morning. I have a couple team totals. I don't have any money on it.
I have one that starts in 18 minutes. How do you cue that up, Pun? And let me fucking roll.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. Mine starts in 18 minutes as well. But
do I get the Capper breakdown music?
Why not? Let's go.
It is time for the Dad Bodds Capper breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I am fully ready to roll,
Sound
guys. 18 minutes. Get your bets in. I'm going head-to-head versus Guns tonight. A little bird told me he is on Michigan, but not so fast, guys. Not so fast. I think Iowa has a little bit more steam behind them coming into Michigan, getting hot at the right time, and I think Michigan's been playing out of their box as of late. I think they've had some big wins. They had some good competitive games, but Iowa shoots lights out tonight. Multiple 3-pointers by my man Bohannon. And I think he wins MVP tonight over 15 points. It's not even a prop. I'm just telling you what's going to happen because I'm that good. Iowa +2. My buddy CT Betts is on Iowa +2, and I do respect that guy. Very handsome fella.
Cheers to CT. Cheers.
I will say the last time that anybody went against Guns on the Dad Bodds podcast, it was CT, and he lost that one when he took Arizona and I took Oregon. So I'm going to be fighting that one. And I just think the Michigan team's just a little bit hungrier. I think the coach that's the interim coach right now, better coach than Howard. And I think
that's fighting words,
they're
literally.
They're fighting for a spot in the tournament, and it's that rat in a corner kind of situation. Those rats either fight or they flees, and I think this one fights. So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
It's
Hey,
Capper
someone's got to
versus
win.
Capper.
Maybe a shot of Malort. A shot of Malort for the loser. A shot of Malort for the loser.
Yeah, if anyone wants to send me a DM and see if they have a bottle of Malort, I've still been looking for that stuff.
I still
and
owe
I can't
like 15 shots of Malort. So if anybody's got Malort,
I owe at least 12 and a half somewhere.
I'll go on Twitter Live and just house a bottle of Malort to the dome.
Oh, you house a bottle of Malort? I can't imagine that.
Fine. What are we cooking tonight? I need to hear.
What do we got for hockey?
I'm ready to win something.
All right, so
Mr. Ice himself.
So we're going Canadians over 1.5 goals. So you don't see very many 1.5s.
Yeah, 1.5.
No, that's weird.
It's juiced. It's like minus 165, which I don't like. But
all right, hey, I'm putting right now.
1.5. It might be 2.5, and if it's 2.5, I don't like it. So don't take it.
You want to give a shout out to like how you're doing in hockey real quick. I know your record is pretty. It speaks for itself. What are you like up 20 units on these team totals or something?
Yeah, dude, I'm like 35. I'm plus 35 units since January 1st. Just hockey and NBA. But I was minus 13 in NBA, so I'm like almost plus 50 units in hockey alone.
Okay, so if you're listening right now, I think we got to hop on board the Pun Picks ship, aka the GPO Lock ship.
And we need to root for the Wild to come back tonight, or we're gonna have a big Wild play coming up. So we need the Wild a good third period. So if you're watching this, root for the Wild. I'm drinking my Wild Green
Viva
seltzer. Viva
La Seltzer.
Canadians over 1.5 goals. If you can still get it. If it's 2.5, don't take it.
Okay.
1.5 only.
I'm looking for it right now.
I released it like at 3 or 4 p.m.
You said it was team total over
1.5. And I think the Canadians are 3-1 this year versus that number. So it doesn't happen very often. So it's really situational. 1.5s and 4.5s come and go. 2.5. The league kind of lives at 2.5 and 3.5.
I think because this is how Pun works. He's the sharpest of the sharp. He moved the line. It's minus 180 now.
Oh God, that's really I might not chose minus 180, but
yeah,
Canadians suck. They really do. But 2 goals is attainable for them tonight. I think versus the Flames.
Yeah.
So
what does FYP mean? Does anybody know?
It's for your page or something, right?
Okay.
For your
I thought
page.
It meant like fuck you, pussy.
Yeah, I don't.
Fuck you, Pun.
Yeah, I think it means for your page.
I think I love random shit like this on my FYP.
Yeah,
on my For Your page. That's like that's your TikTok.
So you're flipping through. It's for an viral.
And for guns, it's just all. I won't.
We talk about like why I can't go on TikTok.
Let's get Joe. Let's get Joe in here before he hits.
Hold on. We got one more play, and this is the Gunstradamus play. So let me put on the Gunstradamus hat because this is the. I'm seeing. Oh, I got a vision. I'm seeing yellow. I'm seeing purple. Wait, am I seeing purple? Yes, it's definitely purple. I'm seeing an animal. Is that a cat? No, that's not a cat. It's a dog. No, it's a tiger. It's a tiger. Yes, it's a tiger. Is it Auburn Tigers? No, that's not it. Memphis? No. Wait, I recognize that accent. What? Oh, I'm seeing beads. LSU. Yes, I see it. LSU. They're playing the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're playing at home. Yes, this is the one. This is the one that you take. LSU, any line on Saturday. They're playing at Alabama. And if you know LSU just played a absolutely electric game that came down to 2 possessions. They screwed up. They took a shot with 13 seconds left. And at Arkansas, very hot team, came down the court, and the refs basically gave them a favored call, which wasn't really a foul. Game should have went to overtime, but I digress. So LSU is going to be a little bit hungry in this. They've got 10 losses. They need this win. They still are in tournament brackets based on Joe Lunardi, but they still need to keep winning and to keep their spot. They're sitting at number 6. LSU's lost 3 out of their last 4, but this is the healthier team here. But 3 of those losses, they're a bad road team. They've lost 3 of those losses are on the road. 2-8 on the road this year, but when they go home, they're 14-2 straight up. And if you look at Alabama is a bad road team themselves. They are 3-6 on the road straight up this year. Alabama's strength is their offense. They're ranked 12th in KenPom, but the LSU defense is absolutely electric. They're ranked 5th in KenPom as defensive efficiency is concerned. I think this is the healthiest LSU team coming down the stretch. I think they actually make a good run into the conference tourneys, which we'll be talking about in a second. So give me LSU, whatever the line is. I think they're going to be favored by 4. LSU, whatever the line, as a play on Saturday. Gunstradamus has spoken.
Wow, great job.
You surprised me with that. You really surprised me with that. I was hoping for a video like a Gunstradamus like
you should
intro
make a TikTok
video.
and get a little drunk and post it. Put sexy back on it.
The signs. All right.
All right, is Joe ready to go? Or do we know that can we let him know that
Joe is on deck. Joe is on deck.
Joe is on
He's
deck,
waiting.
and
this is big.
But I have to pay the bills, or we have to pay the bills. We have to do one quick read, and then we can have all the time with Joe. So let's get it going.
This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers.
That's right. This podcast is sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzers. Viva Tequila Seltzers is a refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer, 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and 4.5 ABV. The boys are drinking it now. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations as it was created for the active lifestyles in mind. Viva flavors their tequila seltzers because flavor is the spice of life, and they like their drinks with a little kick, just like they like to live their lives. Viva flavors pairs perfectly with our artisanal Blanco tequila for a subtle and refreshing drink. Their belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Viva Tequila Seltzers. So knock on the door.
You're older and only available in some states.
Yeah, everything. But you know what? Is someone?
Oh, you know that sound. That means the dads have a special guest ready to join the show. Let's tune in and see who it could be.
That's right. We're getting to our guest segment here. We're going to be talking conference championship hoops with a guy that is a high volume bettor like myself. He posts all his stuff on Twitter at Joe_picks on Twitter. So go check him out. He is an absolutely electric capper and very successful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dad Bodds podcast. Joe's Picks. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
So
what's up, Joe?
What's up, Joe?
How's it going?
We are in a chat together, and I think you're one of the 4 or 5 of us that bet on college hoops and put the plays up, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I went free on my page a couple weeks ago and have been posting high volume college basketball pretty much every day since. So,
are you surviving the free world of gambling Twitter? First of all,
yeah, I was free for like a year before I went VIP, and then I had VIP for about 2 years, and then now going back free. It's been better than it was before, actually. Less trolls than before.
Good. I kind of noticed. So I follow you, obviously, and I sometimes click on and read the comments, and I'm like, God, these guys are just ruthless sometimes. I don't know how you deal with it. I'm horrible with the trolls. Horrible. Yeah. Trolls, stay away from me because I'll
right back. I say, hey, thanks for the support, bro, and then like favorite their. That's usually what
kill
I
them with kindness. Yeah,
I do the same thing too.
Guns is the best. Guns is the best with the trolls. He engages them and then turns them into like followers.
Friends, right?
He like sells
I break them down to see what's wrong, buddy. What's going on? And then they break. Yeah. You go, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And I'm
I love the backdrop. We got a nice kitchen setting. Yeah,
where's
the location right now? Where are we?
Are you in Canada or?
Me and my girlfriend are kind of living Airbnb to Airbnb right now, and we actually
nice
farmhouse for like dead cheap. So it's like the 1970s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It looks like it looks like that house is straight from Fargo. Like outside there's like a wood chipper with half a leg in it.
There's like random antique items all over the house and pictures of random things and china just everywhere. So it's a throwback house for sure.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
So I got to ask you. I mean, we usually ask all our guests this: is basically how did you get into sports gambling, and how did you decide to concoct it into Joe's Picks Twitter handle, and then how did you actually find an absolute rocket ship growth with your Twitter content?
I probably started sports gambling like my senior year of college. So I graduated college about 4 years ago. A couple friends got me into it, and then I was kind of just hooked. And then after I stopped, I was playing baseball in college. Then after I stopped playing baseball, I kind of just needed like a competitive like outlet, and I feel like I got that from like sports handicapping, because it's kind of like a competition with yourself, just to beat the books and try to handicap sports. So that's how I kind of got into it. And then I just, when I started posting, I hit a really big streak with like MLB. I think I hit like 15 in a row, and I had some help from people to help grow my page and like reach stuff. And then from there, it kind of just took off. But really the growth on Twitter has just come from like really promoting hard when you're a streak, and just making friends and everybody helping each other. And that's kind of how the page has grown over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's a good advice for anybody that's looking to kind of grow their account, which obviously I am. I have like 1,700 followers or something. But engage with people and engage with other cappers and get yourself into like a group that kind of promotes each other and supports each other. And it kind of helps you on the bad days and the good days and the swings, right? I mean, have some fallback on some buddies that are kind of in the same position as you, instead of just being on an island. Because I've been on an island before and it sucks. Like just not knowing anybody in the sphere, right? Locke?
Yeah.
The sphere?
Is
that what we call it?
Like vent to and talk to, like if you're on a bad streak, or like just everybody helping each other out, just trying to help everybody grow together.
Exactly.
Well, what position were you in baseball? I had no idea we had that background.
Yeah, I played first base and outfield in college.
Where at?
I played at a small D3 school in Georgia called Berry College.
Berry,
Cool.
yeah, absolutely. Cool.
I noticed a lot of washed up D3.
Locke knows it well.
I know.
Berry's got a lax team. I know Berry.
Yeah, Berry's the largest campus in the United States, square mileage.
Wow.
Hey. Where is it? Where in Georgia?
It's in Rome, Georgia. So it's kind of like.
Is that near Athens?
Actually.
Sorry, that was a dad joke. I mean, it's the dad bods. What do you want me to do?
What's that joke? I don't understand that joke.
Let me take another drink here.
I got it. It's weird because I find that a lot of at least handicappers on Twitter were washed up athletes, whether it be D1, D2, D3. Like I'm a washed up like basketball player in D3, and then or high school. You competed, and then you have LAX with locks. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But enough about you, Joe, because we're sick. No, I'm just joking. And we wanted to get into a little bit of college basketball talk. I know that you're a volume guy like me. I probably put out 8 or 11 plays a night, and you have different strategy, of course. But I mean, you're actually rocking the first halves, which I've noticed. But I think a lot of the people out there that are listening to us want to talk conference tourneys. What teams to look out for, especially I wouldn't say should we start with the bigger conferences, or should we work our way into some of the small ones? What
let's
do you think?
Start Power 6. Just a quick run through of who you think is going to win those tournaments.
Okay.
And if you have any upsets or anything that if you don't have a clear idea, or we can provide as well. But if there's anything you're keyed in on, let everybody know.
Yeah, I can kind of. I think we'll win, and then maybe like a dark horse.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's perfect.
Let's start with the Big 12. Because Pun is an Okie State guy.
They will not be competing in the.
Definitely going to be a real. I think this is going to be, in my opinion, that and the SEC are going to be really competitive. As far as the conference tourneys go, what teams do you think in that conference are going to come out and actually play at a high level and not try to rest their asses for the bigger tournament and actually make a push to go win the conference.
I think Texas Tech, they might be the betting favorite to win the tournament, which I don't like. I don't usually like betting on the betting favorite for the conference tournaments, but Texas Tech has just been one of the toughest teams all year. They've always found a way to win really tough games and tough environments, and I just think they're the most prepared for me to win the Big 12. And then a dark horse pick that nobody's probably talking about, I think Texas. Texas has a lot of talent. They've kind of underperformed this year. I think everyone thought they were going to be much better than they actually were. The offensive production just hasn't really been there, but I think they'll probably be over maybe like 700 plus 800, something like that. So I think they're a good dark horse pick.
I mean, I agree with you on the Texas Tech stuff. The one thing that worries me about Texas Tech is how they play on the road. It's like that when they are playing at home, that I don't think there's a team in college basketball that can beat them. I mean, they're so defensively.
Well, they're undefeated. This is like the first undefeated season for a power,
right?
Like a power conference team at home, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
could be.
I think it is. I mean, I think this is the first time a team's gone undefeated in conference play.
I'll check. I'll fact check.
4 teams are like 70-2. Like it's been crazier over there. But yeah, Texas Tech has been a different animal at home for sure. But that is a worry though going into the tournament because they won't be on their home court.
The one thing that I wonder about that conference too is like because Baylor's kind of been like toying with a lot of they're dealing with a lot of injuries in their lineup. They're starting to get healthy now. I don't know if it's going to be they're going to wait for the bigger tournament or they're going to actually try to play them now, try to get the rust off before we actually go into the first round. That kind of concerns me there. But I don't hate that Texas Tech pick at all. I mean, I've been kind of like it seems like I'm either betting with them or mostly betting with Texas Tech than against them. But I'm always looking for those spots to bet against them.
It's always a really tough conference. It's very even. Baylor, Kansas, Texas Tech, and Texas are the top 4, obviously. I think Baylor wins the league with a win on Saturday, right?
Yes.
They
have a game. They're up a game, I think.
Okay, yeah, because Kansas lost to TCU last night, so that helps them. So good. Big 12, you like Tech to win. Dark horse with Texas. I think that's a good take as a Big 12 guy. And then I will let you guys handle the floor because that's all the basketball I've watched is Big 12.
That's why I wanted to start with that one for you.
Thank you, Guns.
Yeah, let's go into the SEC, which is another strong conference altogether. A lot of teams in here can really make a push. The one that really sticks into my mind is LSU. Maybe that's probably a dark horse for me, but I'll let you take it from here. What teams do you think are going to come out the champions, and which one's the dark horse?
It's funny you mentioned LSU. LSU is on my do not bet list. I think I'm like 0 in my last 7, either betting on or against them this season. So they made the list. So, but with that being said, they could still win it. But I think right now I would pick Arkansas to win the tournament. They're peaking at the right time. They were kind of so-so at the beginning of the season, but they've been playing really well down the stretch. They've won some really big games, playing really well at home. And then the dark horse pick for me is Alabama. I don't really know what the odds are in Alabama, but they're probably the streakiest team in the country. They could beat anyone on any given day. So that would be my kind of dark horse pick for the SEC.
So can we assume the favorite is Kentucky?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I
thought the favorite would be University of South Carolina.
Or Auburn. Right?
You think the Gamecocks?
So I guess Auburn would be the favorite, or they've kind of taken a dive lately, right?
Auburn's actually leading the conference right now. They've taken a little bit of a nosedive. Even when you watched them against Mississippi State last night, they took them into overtime and they actually won by 13. But if you actually watch that game, they really, at least the last 2 weeks, they've played like really sloppy. Lockbest can probably attest to this, and I'll give the floor to him. I mean, isn't this one of the teams that you consider quote unquote dark horse to even win the national championship?
Arkansas, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I think their coaching, man. I think their coaching can get them deep into the tournament. And I love how this team is really stepping up this time of year. So that's I would agree with you guys on that platform. Arkansas for SEC as my namesake, I think it'd be a good lock bet.
Yeah. And we had Adam Trigger on last week, and he said the same thing.
Yeah,
I think
I love him. Yeah, I think
there was a. I mean, I like him too. That pick is great. I think Arkansas probably has that momentum going in there. I think they should have lost last night, and that would actually help them. Bet, in my opinion, to get that loss out of the way late, because they've just been on a tear to go and make a nice tournament run. But I guess we'll see how it goes there.
I agree with that. Betting on teams after a loss to make a good tournament. Some teams need a loss to like kind of wake them up a bit. Like Baylor last year when they were undefeated and then they lost to Kansas right after the show. I mean, I think that woke them up. I think it hurt Gonzaga being undefeated in the championship last year, to be honest. So I think
that conference is real tough. I mean, this is kind of one of those weird tournaments that like you could probably take the 1 to 3 seeds in each bracket, and I'm like, they could be interchangeable. Number one, in my opinion. I mean, it just seems like it's so much depth and so much in question going into this. Let's jump on the plane, the red eye. Let's head down 3 time zones and go into the Pac-12. So the Pac-12 is not one of the weaker ones out of the Power 5. I think the ACC probably takes the cake on this one, but usually it's the Pac-12. Not a lot to talk about on this one, but I'll pass the ball to you on this one, Joe Picks. What do you think about this conference?
This is one where I'm going to go with the favorite. I think Arizona probably runs away with this conference. The only team I think that can win other than Arizona is UCLA, just because we saw how good UCLA played against Arizona in the first matchup. The defense was just insane. And then Arizona kind of stepped it up in the next game. And then we saw Arizona blow out USC by like 30 points the other night. I mean, that was impressive. I think Arizona is the closest team to this Baylor team from last year. And I just think their offense is too explosive for most teams. It would be Arizona and then I guess UCLA would be technically a dark horse, considering I think Arizona is the only team that can win it. But I would go Arizona or UCLA.
Lock bets. Any thoughts on this one?
Nope.
No. He's on mute.
I'm muted. God, it's been a rough day, Joe. I don't know if you know, but I got tanked last night, and I've been like hungover all freaking day. So my head's in the clouds. I'm on mute. I like listening to you guys mostly.
But he's here.
I'm here. I agree with Joe. I mean, I think UCLA would be the next team to kind of compete in that league, in that conference. I think he's right. I think Arizona runs away with it. UCLA may give them a good fight to the end at least, but we're talking Arizona.
Dark horse. I think Washington State maybe could.
Ooh, all right.
I don't hate that one either.
Are they the Oregon State of last year?
Yeah.
Arizona, though, if they go cold, I mean, Arizona has had a handful of games. I'm not going to say too many, but if they go cold, they're very beatable, I think. So
it's hard to judge Arizona because they play it's just the conference is just so shitty. I don't know.
One really bad performance. I don't know if y'all watched the game where they lost to Tennessee, but they kind of got
jumped. One. Yeah,
they got jumped by the refs at the end of that game a little bit. They called a technical on that at the end of the game that kind of put it away late. They could have won that game, ended up losing. But Washington State, they're really long, really athletic. They could possibly give Arizona some fits on the defensive side.
It's weird because I think Arizona's kind of had a little depreciation as of late. Especially, didn't they get beat by Oregon, and then they got beat by Colorado on the road. Am I getting that wrong?
We can't forget about Oregon. They always wake up in March.
But yeah, that's true. But with Arizona having those losses, this might be the smelling salt, that punch in the mouth that they need before they get into the tournament. So yeah.
At Tennessee, and they lost to UCLA, I believe.
Okay.
I think 6-2.
Well, they're 20. Yeah, they're 26-3, 16-2. Yeah, you're right. 16-2 in conference. But Yeah, I don't know if how anybody could. They got to be the heavy favorite in this one. USC sitting at second. I don't know how, because it seems like USC is just overvalued in my opinion. So UCLA. I don't know if Cronin can make another run. It's usually Cronin is that guy you want to fade in a tournament situation. But I mean, he made a run last year, so I mean it's going to be less interesting than the other two conferences. But what do I know? Bill Walton could be losing his mind.
That's the only reason I'm going to be.
tournament.
That's the only reason I'll watch any of that conference tournament.
He's hilarious. He only watches.
I'll get high with him, and
he only knows his Final Four is always Pac-12. I think he was the one that had the best bracket of all time last year because of what happened with Oregon State and UCLA. So he had them going all the way, but
he didn't know who Zion
he
Williams
always does.
In 2018.
That's great.
I don't watch.
He lives in a bubble, man.
Who was like, who is this Zion Williamson?
The guy
He can jump really high. He was pretty.
He's a nut.
He busts out of his Nikes.
A Dead and Co show or something with him. Grateful Dead. He's got to be an interesting time in that setting.
Oh.
Imagine doing acid with Bill Walton. I'd have a bad trip.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the ACC. I'm wearing the Duke shirt, so if you don't say Duke, I'm gonna punch you through my screen right now. But this one doesn't seem as lackluster as an American Athletic Conference. I mean, Atlantic Coastal Conference that I've ever seen. It seems like Duke or nobody, but I don't know if Duke is in one of those modes to like take a dive in the semifinals like they have in the past. But I mean, I'll leave it up to you, Joe. What do you think about this conference tourney?
I think it would be really sad if Duke didn't win this conference tournament. I think they probably have to be the heaviest favorite to win any of the Power 5 championships. So I would go with Duke to win. Dark horse, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's been playing really good lately. They play really tough defense, and they shoot a lot of threes. So if they make in their threes, they can really beat anyone. They were winning at Duke, at Cameron Indoor in the first half as like 10-point underdogs, and then you had a really bad second half. But, I mean, if they can put that 20-minute performance together, 40 minutes against Duke, I mean, anything could happen. So Virginia Tech would be my dark horse, but I think it's Duke or nothing for the ACC.
Lock bets. Any thoughts on the ACC?
I mean, I'm definitely in the business of commotion. I mean, I'm not going to hand this conference trophy to Mike, Coach K, just because he's retiring and whatnot. I mean, you got to go into these games and actually play, a hard fought battle. So am I going to say they're going to get knocked off? No, but I would pay to witness, at least a competitive final to the end. I don't want to just hand this one to Coach K. Coach K, I love the guy, great coach, but listen, you got to earn it this time of year.
I think if you're writing a narrative, if you're writing a story of Coach K's last ride, he plays UNC in this game. Whatever the outcome of this one, I think you need to see a round 3 Duke UNC in the championship. That's what I'd like to see, and I think that would just be good television. And then whatever the outcome of that game is going to be, I would think it would be Duke in Coach K's last ride. And seeing if that happens and they win the ACC, I have no confidence in them winning the tournament. That's just me, because they've never won an ACC tournament and then won a national championship in my memory. It's usually they're out in the semifinals. They take a dive against a team that's a little bit more hungry. They rest their players for a few more days or an extra day or two, and then they go and they make that run for the tourney. That's kind of like, I hope they don't win the conference championship. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Taylor lost Oklahoma State last year in the Cade Cunningham was like great performance. They went on to win though. Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, last year was an off year for them, and they ended up they were going to make. I felt like they were going to make a run in the ACC tournament to go and get into to one of those spots, because they had to win out to get into the tourney, which I think they would have been favored by anybody in the committee to if they had enough wins. but COVID happened, and that was the end of that. So hopefully they'll be hungrier this year, knowing that they were not in the tourney last year. Let's move into the Big East, the Big Least, or whatever you want to call it. A very competitive conference, tough to cap. I've found. I don't know if Lock Bets attest to this. He did go to Seton Hall last night, and he is feeling it today.
I'm an expert on the Big East now.
What's that?
He's an expert.
I'm an expert on the Big East.
Okay, so this is the perfect one for Lock Bets. So Joe picks. I'll pass it to you first before we give it to the expert, lockbets.net. What do you think about this conference? What do you see?
It's kind of top heavy. I think Nova is really one of the better teams in the country. One thing I look at for capping is like first half versus full game. Do teams play better in the second half versus the first half? Nova really plays extremely consistent through first half versus the full game. They don't really have a lot of letdowns. They come back a lot second half if they've been losing. They were down by like 8 points to like DePaul or something at halftime, and then ended up covering like a 12-point spread. So they're really consistent. Jay Wright, best teams in the country. I think Nova might get knocked off by somebody who can get really hot. I think my dark horse would be St. John's. St. John's has the offense. Beat anybody. Julian Shepagny, or however you say his name, is like one of the best scorers in the country. I think he can go out there and win you a couple games, but I would go Nova for Big East.
Lock Bets. Thoughts?
My head is cloudy today. Is Providence in the Big East though?
They are, and they're actually
UConn's
leading
in
the
the Big
conference
East
right
too,
now.
right?
They're actually the number one seed.
I went into a time machine, and the few years that the Big East wasn't around, I was stuck in the Atlantic 10 for a few minutes there.
AAC,
AAC, whatever it was, yeah. Guys, I think it's good. I think this is probably going to be the best watch for your, bang for your buck in these games. Providence, St. John's, UConn, Seton Hall. A lot of mayhem could occur. I like UConn. I think they're a strong team, and I really do think Coach Hurley has really uplifted this program, and I think they're getting hot at a good time. I would not count out UConn. And I think Providence would be my dark horse. Don't have any reason to back that one up because I'm an expert, but Providence. I'm an expert because I sat courtside at Seton Hall game, obviously.
Everyone's talking about Providence has been, by KenPom, the luckiest college basketball team of all time. They did like a luck factor. No team has won more. No team has won more close games with less close game losses than Providence in the history of college basketball. And
is it luck, or is that, or are they just built different?
At what point does it stop being luck, and then they're just they're good, they're clutch, like they've been really clutch,
right?
I
guess we're going to see. I mean, they're not going to be able to they're not going to be able to hide from their fate in this tournament. So get your popcorn ready.
Back 15 points at halftime and beat Nova on the road. So that was really impressive. That was like a trap line. Nova -10. Everyone was betting Providence.
Yeah.
Providence. I was really impressed by their second half performance there. So maybe they can make a run.
I like Nova in this one. I mean, Jay Wright is, one of the best coaches in college basketball, in my opinion. Team's very consistent, heavy guards.
I'm excited, and they always make tournament. This is going to be a good one.
You've got me excited. I wasn't excited.
Are we looking at, you think? So it's going to be Nova 1, UConn 2?
No, it's Providence 1, Villanova. If it ended tomorrow, there's still like a chance. There's a shot that Villanova gets it. I think if like Providence loses, Villanova wins maybe. But right now it'd be Providence 1, Villanova 2, Connecticut 3, Creighton 4, Seton Hall 5, Marquette, St. John's, and then thereafter. So
you always forget about Creighton in the Big East.
Creighton's kind of interesting because they are covering monsters, and they always get that 4 to 7 point line at home or something like that. And they're when they have to play like Villanova, Connecticut, Providence, they'll always have this weird dog line. They won't necessarily win the game, but they'll keep it close enough that it's enough to get the cover. So
go on the road.
What's that?
I said, and then they'll get blown out by Butler as 2-point favorite on the road. So like,
yeah, what was that? That was the I watched that game, Joe. I think I bet on that game, and
I had first half.
Butler's horrible.
Yeah, I had like first half -1. They lost the first half by like 3 points, and I was like, damn, they're gonna come back and win the game. And then they lost by like 20. I was like, wow,
that's just what it was. I put them in a money line parlay.
Yeah,
and they came back. Did they came back? And
wow, you parlayed it, Pun? Did you get a bonus? And did you get like? Are you doing same game parlay?
That's really none of your. That's
really
not.
Sorry, a five-teamer.
That's not really any of your business. Sorry.
Okay.
Hey, what is that thing that you called it? What did you call it?
Same game.
LA,
God,
right?
No.
Okay.
All right. We got to control these dads, Joe. I'm more in your age range.
All right, Joe.
Listen.
We got to move on.
All right, let's move. We're moving on to the next conference.
Joe's got better things to do. Let's go. Come on.
Joe's got to go put a fresh coat of lacquer on that wall.
Listen, Butler steals coins. It's a fact. All right,
now the next conference. Let's go.
Let's move on to a better conference here. Let's go into the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten, always competitive, always fun to watch, always the last championship game to watch before you get to Selection Sunday. What are your thoughts on the Big Ten?
I think this conference tournament is going to be one of the most exciting just because I think this is going to have the most upsets. The top of the Big Ten, they're all very close together. They could all beat each other on any given day. I actually like Iowa to win the Big Ten. Iowa has a really good offense. I think Keegan Murray is the next DeMar DeRozan. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I just think he's like a mid-range assassin, gets to anywhere on the court he wants. He's a mismatch nightmare at 6'8". Iowa has a really good offense. They're really experienced. They've been playing really well lately. Iowa would be my pick to win the Big Ten. I guess that's my dark horse pick. Other than that, I think Illinois, they might be the favorite to win. I don't really know what the odds are, but Illinois with Coburn, their defense and their post presence has been really solid all year. But I like Iowa.
So let's run down guns. Run down the. So Wisconsin won the regular season.
That's correct.
Run down the Big 10, Big 16.
Yep. So we start with Wisconsin. They've clinched the number one spot in the regular season. Then after that, it's Illinois, Purdue. I think Purdue's probably a falling knife in my opinion. Iowa, Ohio State, Rutgers, Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, Penn State, Maryland, and then the bottom feeders.
That's a loaded conference. It's a very good conference. I think Joe's onto something with Iowa though. Their shooting is phenomenal. And before you came on, we had a little didn't lock like Iowa.
I did. Tonight versus Michigan.
Right. They're up 11-4 right now.
Did you have a play on that one, Joe?
No, one thing I look at in is revenge spots and in certain lines. Does the spot fit the line? I like to bet on road favorites a lot in the first half just because I think you're getting a discount based on home court advantage. If Iowa had been a favorite tonight, I probably would have bet on them, but they were a +2 dog. It was conflicting spots for me, so I didn't have a pick, but I was off to a good start tonight.
Well, just to let you know, Guns picked Michigan, lockbets.net picked Iowa. So they're facing off tonight, and the loser has to do something kind of cool. So we'll see what happens.
A shot of Malort. Is it Malort? You ever have a shot of Malort, Joe?
No, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a Chicago.
That's a great answer. It's a horrible
shot.
It's supposed to be the worst tasting alcohol.
It's like you're drinking dirty bath water with Clorox. I heard. So that's pretty much the. It's old school liquor.
Sounds good. Sounds tasty.
What's the next conference? I'm ready. Is that it? No,
I mean, we're going into some of the mid-major stuff.
So we did get a cut. So we're done with the Power Six.
Yeah.
I call it the Power Six because I think we add the Big East in. Let's touch on the Missouri Valley. C2 wanted us to talk about the Missouri Valley. He's an Iowa guy through and through. He loves the Missouri Valley. So he's always betting the Missouri Valley. So who's coming out? Because Missouri Valley is a good conference. Who's coming out of that this year?
two teams that are also on my no bet list are Loyola Chicago and Northern Iowa. I think I'm like 1-20 combined on overs, unders, sides. I had an over one time. Loyola was playing Illinois State. I needed 1 point in the last 3 minutes to hit the first. 0 for 10, 4 turnovers, 0 for 2 on free throws, and I lost by a point. So
they didn't score a single point.
Not a great conference. Single point in 3 minutes.
Wow.
So you don't have good vibes for the Missouri Valley, is what you're saying?
Not good vibes.
What a conference to pick.
I think Loyola probably the favorite. I think they're going to win. They struggled on the road this year, but they've been pretty good on a neutral court and at home. I think the Missouri Valley is on neutral court. Some of these conferences have teams play on their home courts, but I think it's a neutral court. My pick would be Loyola. Dark horse would be Drake. I think Drake has kind of been undervalued all year. They've been a little worse than they were last year. Haven't really been covering spreads as much as they did, but I think Drake is a really good team, and you could probably get pretty good odds on them too.
Yeah, Drake's actually playing well now. It's like they had this stint in like the beginning of conference play where they kind of played like kind of lackluster, but a lot of the times they got to the wins. They're 13-5 in the conference, so that tells you something there. Another team that's not really mentioned,
Arch Madness. That's Missouri Valley. I mean, does it get any better than that name? So that's obviously going to be in St. Louis, right?
Another team that hasn't been discussed enough, and I don't know why they haven't. And I've been riding this team a lot this year. Is Missouri State? I think this is a team that can actually really compete with anyone in the conference. They're 13-5. They're ranked 3rd in the conference right now. They're kind of like a dark horse. Northern Iowa is actually sitting at number 1, but I think if you go from that top 4 from Northern Iowa, Loyola, Illinois, Missouri State, and Drake, those are the 4 that are probably going to go and actually get into that. If they actually get to that semifinal all together, god damn, that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
I gave the Missouri Valley. Somebody else give another conference. I think we need to talk.
I feel like Joe is like one little tick behind on his internet, which isn't your fault, Joe. And I feel like he was just about to say something. Joe, did you have something there?
Joe. Thank you, Locke.
Good offense. I've kind of struggled betting on Missouri State too. But Missouri State, Gage Prim is one of the best players. A lot of people haven't heard of. Might be one of the best players in the conference. What are the odds on Missouri State? They play plus 600, plus 700. If you can get them over plus 500, I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, value there for sure.
I'll try to find that one.
All right, so I don't want to talk about Mountain West.
We don't want to talk West Coast Conference. Could be kind of fun with Gonzaga.
That could. I mean, is there anybody that's going to actually?
St. Mary's beat them the other day, right?
I'm thinking about correct. On Gonzaga to win it, honestly.
To win it all?
No, to win the West Coast Conference tournament. They're minus 390 to win the tournament.
Okay, so they're very heavy favorites, obviously.
Oh yeah, they have to win 2 games the way that it's set up. They're already in the semi.
Might as well just get just take the paycheck, toss it all on there, get a little return coming back.
Yeah,
that would be a brutal L to watch. It's like that would be tough.
You'd be hedging the hell out of that thing, right?
The only teams you're going to see in that final is St. Mary's versus Gonzaga, and it's Gonzaga on a revenge. And that is not a spot you want to be in on a neutral court. And I think they're playing in Vegas, probably at the Orleans, or they're playing at, where UNLV plays. But that one, yeah, I wouldn't. It's Gonzaga or nobody. You don't take anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a consensus play. I'm in minus 390. I mean, I think we're all pretty much on board. Joe, what else you got for this conference? Anything else?
San Fran is like plus 3,500. I think that might be worth the flyer just because they have a really good offense. They played somewhat good against St. Mary's. They played okay against Gonzaga for a couple halves, but ended up not covering the second game. They covered the first game, but it was very close. That would be my only other flyer for this conference.
I have one last question, Joe. We're running out of time.
Ooh,
I have one last question. So last year in March Madness, We're getting past conference tournaments. We're going into March Madness. The Pac-12 surprised everybody as the conference that came out of nowhere. Is there a conference this year that you see doing that with really kind of low aspirations going in, that gets 4 or 5 teams in, that does what the Pac-12 does? Or is that just unpredictable?
I think the SEC probably would be that conference this year. I'm not going to be surprised if the SEC puts 4 teams in the Elite Eight this year, like Kentucky, LSU, all those teams are Elite Eight, Final Four, and it just kind of depends on the matchups come March. But I think the SEC would be that type of conference.
Good answer. I like that.
Yeah, I have one. So if you had to pick one team that's a Cinderella team going into the, granted, if they win their conference tournament, they'll get in. Who's that team that you would think would just be able to beat like 1 or 2 teams in the tournament in upset fashion?
That's tough.
Somebody that we wouldn't know, like a Loyola Chicago when they came out of nowhere, that kind of team.
Or maybe there's a team that's been treating you really well this year, and you're like,
oh. Ooh, that's a good move. Yeah.
Power 5. I think Rutgers could make a Sweet 16 if they get in the tournament. I think they're in the tournament right now. I think they should be in the tournament, right?
Yes.
So I think Rutgers could Sweet 16. And I think Murray State. could make a 16 or an Elite Eight. They only have 2 losses this season. They lost to Auburn, who has been number 1 the last couple weeks, and then they had a fluky loss to East Tennessee State at the beginning of the season that no one really looks at. They're like, oh, they're 28-2. Who'd they lose to? They won every single game in their conference. They blew out by 30 both times. Beat Belmont by 30 twice. So I mean, really beating the top half of their conference pretty handedly, and I think Murray State could match up with pretty much anyone.
What kind of seed does a Murray State get at 28-2? Is that like a 4 seed?
No, there'll probably be like a 9,
5?
8 or 9.
So they're going to be that low. Okay, so
they'll be like an 8 or 9, I think.
Okay, that's always a tough spot. That is a tough spot.
It reminds me of that St. Mary's team that didn't make the tournament like 5 years ago when they went like 30-4. They're kind of like that, but they're much better.
Okay.
I mean, I think people are sleeping on Conference USA, in my opinion. You got Middle Tennessee and North Texas, those 2 teams. Whoever wins that one.
North Texas. I like North Texas a lot.
North Texas is an absolute electric team.
Yeah, but they're really.
Wow.
Basketball's so fun. This is going to be, we'll end on this, but this is going to be a crazy tournament. There's really no standout slam dunk Final Four, I don't think. Do you, like, Joe, you think this is going to be very, Thundercut Smith. What a name.
Thundercut Smith is absolute.
He's even got a logo. God, we need to get that.
This is a children's program.
I thought it said Thundercut.
That would be electric if the coaches if the coaches.
I definitely think there's going to be a lot of parity in this tournament, but I think the one team I'll give you 2 teams. I think Arizona and Gonzaga make the Final Four, no questions asked.
Wow, there you have it. There's a prediction for you. National championships from Joe Picks. So
he said it all. He
said it all. Thanks for joining us. If you want to go check out at Joe's_picks on Twitter. He gives his plays out for free. High volume guy, a lot of first halves, but he has a great track record. He knows what he's doing. He also bets multiple sports. What other sports do you bet on besides baseball and college basketball? Is it just all over the board?
On MLB is probably my second best compared to NBA and college basketball, and then NFL is probably after that. And college football, I'm kind of so on. I think I lost like 2 units this past year on college football, so it's pretty even season for me. But I hit pretty much everything. I don't really hit a lot of soccer. That's probably the only thing I don't hit too often.
I'm with you.
Yeah, us either. We're not.
So, do you have any shows you want to promo? I mean, are you on a podcast right now? I know you have a few links in your bio. Anything you want to shout out?
No, not really on any other show right now. Just kind of been hopping around shows like this, guest picking, guest talking hoops, but no, nothing to promote from me.
Well, we'll
appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on eventually. Maybe if there's an MLB season, we'll bring you back on to go talk some baseball for sure. But thank you, Joe. Joe's picks. That wraps it up for episode number 74. Thanks for joining us. Whether you join us now or join us later, please subscribe to the Dad Bodds YouTube channel. Also, follow at Dad Bodds on Twitter, and we'll see you next time for episode number 75, which we'll be talking about brackets. So until then, peace.
Thanks, Joe.
You can't win if you don't bet.